Welcome back. At this point in time, we've gone through Articles 1, 2, and 3 of the United States Constitution, and we're moving on to the amendments. This module will relate to the Liberty Amendments, which is basically the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights was initiated by James Madison in the first Congress in June of 1789. It was subsequently sent over to the states in the form of 12 different articles, 2 of which were not ratified immediately. The ratification of the Bill of Rights, which is just the first 10 amendments, was on December 15th, 1791. The Liberty Amendments basically comprise what we call the fundamental rights. Now, fundamental rights are rights that the government have a very hard time infringing upon. It doesn't mean that they can't put restrictions on these rights, but they have to have a very good reason to do so. A good example of restrictions that can be placed on these fundamental rights, or the rights contained within the Bill of Rights, is the idea of freedom of religion. Freedom of religion, you have the right to practice pretty much any religion you want, but you wouldn't have the right to engage in human sacrifice. In terms of the Second Amendment, you have the right to bear arms, but you don't have the right to own a nuclear weapon. So every right that we have isn't absolute, and the government can put reasonable restrictions upon all of them. Originally, the Bill of Rights was designed to apply only to Congress, Congress being the legislative or the federal government, acts of the federal government. And over the period of time, through a process called incorporation, each one of the fundamental rights contained within the Bill of Rights has been made applicable to the different states. Interestingly, the Second Amendment was not made applicable to the states until 2010 in a case called McDonald versus Chicago. So as we go through this process, I want you to understand that we're going to spend 1 week on the fundamental rights, the Bill of Rights, what I call the Liberty Amendments. And during this week, all I'm trying to do is really give you an introduction. I want you to understand that this subject is vast. And you could basically spend an entire semester on all of the fundamental rights that we have. And because of the time we have in this course, we can only really focus on a couple of them. Now, I've made available a lot of different content in this section that you can look at if you want. And I want you to use your own interests to focus on what you're interested in. If you're interested in the Establishment Clause, there's material there to help you. If you're interested in search and seizure, the Fourth Amendment, there's material there to help you. I've also prepared a few different videos of my own to talk about different areas related to fundamental rights that will help you in your studies. But please understand that this isn't an exhaustive treatment of anything in relationship to the Bill of Rights.